is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee. All right, everybody, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Watch Party. It is December the 24th, Christmas Eve, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. I think we're going to have a fun show tonight because if you're joining us tonight, I'm just really honored that you are. It's a special day for many people. And we're going to look at some hockey cards that are ending tonight on PWCC. And I am excited. We have, Josh Madigan, who's always here with me, covering the auction, going on 35 or so weeks in a row, or with a couple off. He is with his family tonight. So we have a special guest co-host. Let's bring him out. Ryan Lewis. He goes by Lewi. Lewi, what is going on? Welcome to the show, pal.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for making yourself available. And so I looked at the auction. There's about 140 hockey cards on the auction tonight. We have 40 of them favorited, starred, we're going to look at. But before we get into that, it's your first time on with me. Let's hear a little bit about your hobby interests, your hobby history. What do you like to collect, Lewi?
I'm always chasing hockey. I always say that I'm kind of the best of the lousiest, or lousiest of the best when going after hockey cards. I'm kind of all over the board with hockey. I don't have somebody I really follow. Biggest follow for me is baseball with Kirby Puckett. But other than that, I'm always just chasing what piques my interest in hockey cards and going that route.
And you're in Minnesota. Are you were you a Minnesota North Stars fan? Are you a Wild fan now?
Was a North Stars fan, and now I had to transition into the Wild thing. When the Stars were gone, I did move over. I don't know how I got hooked on it, and I started chasing Brodeur and the Devils. I don't know how I got hooked onto them, but I was big into the Devils. I guess you could say I still kind of collect a little of them now. But then it was exciting when the Wild came back, but it's a hard transition. It's definitely not the same sweater. I like the old school colors. I want those back. But yeah, I'm Wild through and through.
Yeah, right on. Well, let's get into it and take a look at some of these cards that we have up on the block tonight. I think it's a bit of a smaller. Hold on one sec. Let me bring it up here. It's a bit of a smaller auction tonight. Like I said, about 140 cards altogether. But guys, there are some really cool pieces up for auction, and we're going to kick off with that exactly, which are these 1924 V130s. They're the Maple Crispettes, and these cards they're really neat. Think about it, Lewi. These things are like a week shy of being 100 years old. Amazing that they survived this long. I mean, there are cards that are 12 years older that have survived this long as well, if not even older than that. But these are really cool. I've never owned a Maple Crispette, but vintage hockey collectors and really vintage collectors of unique sets love this stuff. And it's a 30 card set. They're not all offered here in the auction, but we have 5 of them here of Hall of Famers, starting off with Howie Morenz. Howie Morenz's rookie card was the year before, the 1923 William Patterson, the V124s. And that's a set that I absolutely love. This is a second-year Howie Morenz, and it's a PSA 3 above average eye appeal. It's already at $1,775, guys. So these are tough to find. They don't come up very often. I don't know if we've ever seen them before on the PWCC Weekly Hockey. That's the Howie Morenz, the first superstar of hockey. Right beside it is a George Vezina. I mean, the George Vezina rookie from 1911 is known as like the ultimate vintage grail in hockey cards. This is a what's this, a 13th year card, but he didn't have a card every year leading up. So this is pretty cool. A tough card to find. It's a PSA 1.5 at $750. And we've got an Oral Joliot. This is a PSA 4, Pop 1, only 2 graded higher. Only 2 graded higher than this card here. It's at $625. So right across the top 3 here are 3 of the sort of pioneers and original Hall of Famers in hockey. On the second row, we've got a Punch Broadbent. His rookie card was the C57s from 1912. And this is a PSA 2 at $165. And then a PSA 2 Newsy Lalonde, whose rookie card is in the original 1910 C56 series. And this, I mean, these cards are, I don't know, Lewi, I think they look awesome. You looked into these a little bit. First of all, I want to get your take, Lewi. What do you think of these? Like, how do they make you feel when you look at them? And what did you learn that you can share with everybody?
I just love it's that old school nostalgia of these cards. I like, well, I should say, I hope if you don't have them all, you're trying to collect them all. I looked earlier, that's a short print, number 15 of that Sprague Cleghorn. I was hoping was going to be in here tonight. Maybe somebody needed to nab that one, and Maple Crispet would still honor their free skate giveaway if you collected all 30 cards.
Could you imagine like putting the set together? Like back then it was different. These didn't mean much, but I can't imagine being a kid in the 1920s, collecting these cards from my parents, going grocery shopping and buying the products that they came in. And here, I'm going to show you guys a picture. We're going to give a little shout out here to Bobby Burrell and his vintage hockey collector book. But let me just show you guys, first of all, what I found. I'm fortunate enough to have a copy of the vintage hockey collector book by Bobby Burrell. And if you open it up to page 17, and this is the first edition, there's a newer edition, but this one has just more room for kind of text and pictures. And you look at the bottom half there, you can see it says 1923-24 Maple Crispet. And in that copy there, it says that these cards were distributed in the items shown below. And so caramel and various items at the Maple Crispet company. We have Sweetheart marshmallows right there. We've got Tootsie Kisses right there. And these are called John Bull Famous Confection. So, I mean, yeah, it's a popcorn product right there. So it's pretty cool to think and to have access to information like this. Bobby Burrell's books are great references, but I found it really interesting that this is how these cards were originally distributed. And as Lewi said, if you back in the day, you bought these candies, your parents bought you these candies, and you put together the 30 card set, you could send it into the Maple Crispet company and they would send you a pair of skates. Now, back then, a pair of skates was probably very expensive, Lewi. But for me, I would have wanted the cards. I don't know about you. What would you have done back in the day?
I'd have kept the cards.
Yeah, me too. I'd have kept the cards. I believe I would have done that for sure. Okay, so with that, let's take a look here again. We've got the Howie Morenz, which is, I mean, this card is just gorgeous. It's a 3, but look at the centering. It looks wonderful. The George Vezina, which does have that weird cut across the top. So that's going to hurt. But this looks to me to be a diamond cut card. It's not a perfect it's not a perfect rectangle. It's a parallelogram. You can just see if you look at this, the Joliot, the Broadbent, and the Lalonde. These are the highlights of the set for me among what's being offered by PWCC tonight. So really cool cards. Anything else you want to add to those, Lewi?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's go on. We're going to fast forward 9 years. Another Oral Joliot card. So this is the same player right here that we see right over here. This is his 1924 Maple Crispet, and here is his 1933 V252 Canadian Gum. And these are just nice looking cards. I have an Ace Bailey in my collection. It's a PSA 2. I mean, Lewi, this thing doesn't look so bad. It seems to have some staining on the front. Maybe, I don't know what that's from. But overall, I mean, the centering, the edges, the corners, the back might be messed up. I'm not sure. This thing looks really nice for a PSA 2. of a key Hall of Famer, an Oral Joliot. So that's pretty cool. Have you ever owned one of these?
Negative. No,
Yeah,
that's a nice card for a 2. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful card for a 2. The holder that it's in, the PSA holder, it seems to be floating around a little bit now. I'm not sure if there's a sleeve or not, but really just a cool card. I've always been a fan of the Canadian Gums, the 1933 Canadian Gums. Really, really cool card right there. It's at $320. It's a top 15% eye appeal, being exceptional eye appeal, the same as the Newsy Lalonde here from 1924. Guys, I kind of feel like I just want to stay on these cards. I love these Crispettes so much. I've never owned one, so let's do that for a moment and take a closer look at the Howie Morenz. I just like Howie Morenz is known as the first superstar of all of hockey. So, he was a great player. Again, his rookie's in 1923. This card's really nice. It's got issues, got some staining over there. It's got some corner issues, but what a fantastic card. You know what, Louis? I have to, just out of curiosity, I'm going to go to the PSA app and I'm going to punch in the serial number here because I really want to see what the overall population is, not just of the 3, but of the whole. So this is a population 7 here, which is actually higher than I thought, with 13 graded higher. So in a PSA 3, you're actually getting one of the top 20 copies in the whole existence of these cards. Total amount graded, though, is 42. 42. That means there are just as many graded below a 3 as there are graded 3 and above. Special card, you guys. Really cool. And again, that is sitting right now at $1,775. So very, very cool. Let's say hello to 86 Collectibles. Merry Christmas to you. Jake Dahl, what's going on? Happy holidays. Random Esports, good to have you. And Jake Dahl says that 1924, is that Vezina's last playing days card? Well, Jake, I guess it's from his last playing days year, but he has other cards from that year, including his second year of William Patterson, of the Pattersons, the 1924 Patterson. He has a card as well. So it's not his only last playing days card. If it is, in fact, his last playing days card, I'm not sure about that. But if 24 is his last playing days year, then this is one of at least 2 last playing days cards. What's up, peeps? Happy holidays, pal. Thanks for joining us tonight on Christmas Eve. All right, Louis, let's go to row 3 here. We've got another 1933 card. This is the Worldwide Gum, the Ice Kings, another Oral Joliot. So 3 Joliot cards. You can get all your Joliots tonight.
Yep. Tonight's the night.
Right? This is above average eye appeal. It's a PSA 1.5. And this looks really good for a 1.5. Like, let's have a look at this. It must be messed up on the back, which we're not going to go look at. It just eats up too much bandwidth. But that's what I think. Peeps, I just went through actually what that was because I have it in the book here, but it was popcorn, it was caramel, it was really a confectionery company. I didn't see cookies though, but Maple Crispet they were a confection company. So here's the Joliot again as a 140 from the Canadian Gum Ice Kings. We've got a 36 O-Pee-Chee. So as Louis and I were discussing before, this is the 3rd year that O-Pee-Chee came out originally. And this is a PSA 4 King Clancy with exceptional eye appeal rating. We got to look at this one, Louis. It's a 4. Let's see how pretty this card is. Yeah, I mean, these are just so. It's a pop out card. You could have there's this trace around him, and you could have popped off the top background and just had him kind of stick out of the bottom half of the card. Really cool. Tough to find these in good condition because they were often broken, right? Have you ever seen one of these in hand, Louis? Or
not one of those? I've seen different versions of them, a couple other ones, and you find them where they're, somebody's messed with it enough and split it apart, the perforations there.
Yeah. So this is 36 O-Pee-Chee. It's the 3rd year that O-Pee-Chee came out. 1933 O-Pee-Chee came out in Series A and Series B. Then you got 1935 O-Pee-Chee, which were some unique looking cards. And then the 36s, they got real innovative here with this pop out kind of strategy that they went with. It's a cool card. The key rookie card from 1936 O-Pee-Chee is the Seal Apps of the Toronto Maple Leafs, just for everyone's information there. And then we're going to go on to some early Parkhurst, 1957 Parkhurst, Jean Beliveau in a PSA 3. sitting at $94. And then here's a 57 Parkhurst Maurice Richard, also in a PSA 3. So you can pick up, and these both look pretty good. We'll open them up briefly here in a moment, but you can pick up kind of the two of the biggest, I guess, two of the three biggest stars of the Habs back in 57. The only one I'm really leaving out is Jacques Plante in Beliveau and Richard in PSA 3s, and pick them up for probably, under $250 each tonight. I don't know what the Beliveau is going to go for. The Richard's sitting right now at $150 plus about $190 right now. But the Beliveau, I mean, that doesn't look so bad. The bottom corners are a little bit or not a little, they are dinged. They're soft. Top corners are soft as well, but overall the image is really nice. And the Richard, same thing, nice uniform softness across the corners, but a good image. I mean, here's an opportunity to grab a pair of 57 Parkhurst Toronto Maple Leafs. And then if you want, you can also throw in the Frank Mahovlich rookie right over here, and also in a PSA 3. I don't know. It's pretty cool. $360. This will be more because it is the Mahovlich rookie, one of the key Toronto Maple Leaf rookies in the history of the Leafs. And finally, I don't think there's another one. No, finally, if you want, you can grab what is the second year Jacques Plante. It's not his rookie. His rookie is 1955. There were no cards in 56, I don't believe. And so you can get the 57 Plante, his second year card. His second card in his third year. Also in a PSA 3 exceptional eye appeal. You can pick off a few. So you got your chance tonight, guys, to grab some nice maple crispets, rare crispets. These 57 Parkhursts aren't nearly as rare, but here we have 4 key cards from the set. Lewi, before I get your thoughts, I just want to say Merry Christmas to Lapper. Says there's no better time to buy some cards than maybe Christmas Eve in the holiday season. Welcome to the show, buddy. Merry Christmas to you. So, Lewi, what are your thoughts on this quartet of 57 Parkhurst cards?
Wink, wink. Maybe don't spend a lot of time on them for me. But no, I like all the cards. What I like is, I think you kind of took the words out of my mouth earlier, though. The conformity, and I don't mind if the corners are soft as long as they're all soft. It makes the card look, I don't know, do you say not as bad?
Symmetrical in a way, right? Like it's pleasing to the eye when you've got the same amount of wear on all the corners versus the 2 sharp corners and 2 rounded corners. I like my cards to look their age. I don't want them all rolled up and flattened out again, but yeah, I hear you. And I agree. Like I want the corner wear to be uniform. And these cards all look to just have that natural wear to them. So it's a nice quartet. And if you, I won't say much more, Lewi, because I don't know if you're going for any of these. You sort of hinted that you might be, and if you are, good luck. But we will leave it at that. 86 Collectibles says, still learning about vintage. Why don't these old Parkers get much love? They do. I don't know, 86. They do get much love, actually. These are low grade copies, but the old Parkers, they do get love. There's not you got to think about where the rookie cards are. Here we are in 1957. You got the 51 Parkies with all the big rookies in it, the Howe, the Richard, the Sawchuk, etc. You got the 52s that adds the Tim Horton rookie. You got the 53 that brings us, the Beliveau and the Bauer. And then you got the 54s, you got the 55s with Plante, nothing in 56. This is already the 6th year of Parkhurst. And then they keep on going until, I believe, 62 or 63. So they do get love, but there's no real good rookies in Parkhurst after 1957. So after that year, they get love from set collectors, but I don't know. I don't really see what you're seeing, 86. I think they do get love. These are just low grade. Peep says the Jacques Plante is such a great image. Yeah. And it looks good with his rookie card as well, which is a similar image to the 57. All right, next row, you guys. We've got a 1957 Topps Glenn Hall PSA 8. This is a key Hall of Fame rookie right here. We've got a 1960 Topps Stan Mikita PSA 8. Not mine. Mine sold a few weeks ago. This is another one. And then we've got this really neat looking 61 Swedish Record Journal hand cut Bobby Hull, which we just added to the list tonight at the last minute because I thought this is kind of a neat card. Let's take a look at it. And so let's do that. We're going to open these three up. And let's start with the Glenn Hall, which is this guy right here. Very nice. Off center, a bit high, a bit to the left, but not bad at all. And it's an 8. Color is great. That yellow is just popping. His face looks a little blurry to me. There is a bit of a registration issue. You can kind of see how this additional red layer comes up above the black. So there is a registration issue there. Registration centering, but corners and edges all look very nice. So I don't have an issue with this being an 8. Certainly the centering doesn't take it out of the 8 range. The registration is, not, I don't think that PSA values registration as much as like the eye appeal crowd does, myself included. So it's an 8, but it's maybe not the strongest 8 out there. And then we got the Stan Mikita. This is a nice copy. The centering is decent. It's a little bit shifted a bit to the right and a little bit high, but the registration is very nice. Nice sharp image for the most part. For the most part. One thing I look at on the Mikita, Lewi and everybody else, is to make sure that like the blue and the yellow background don't infringe on his image that's superimposed on top of it. And right here, it looks pretty good. If you compare this to the copy that sold a few weeks ago that was my copy, you'll notice that this one actually has a sharper image, but my copy was better centered. So, you kind of have to pick your whatever is more important to you. This is a really nice copy though. I wouldn't kick it out of the house right there. Lewi, I'm going to go get your thoughts on these two, but before I do, we're going to go to some comments here so you can gather your thoughts. Shannick, Merry Christmas to you. No cut patches this week. You've enjoyed my bidding frenzy. Yeah. Thanks, Shannick. I've enjoyed it too. I'm hoping for more. Craig's Cards. What's going on, Craig's Cards? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. And I'm guessing you got my email. I finally was able to respond. And Phil says, Merry Christmas. Now this is dedication. Hey, happy to do it. It's a lot of fun to do this. So back over to you, Lewi. Your thoughts on the Glenn Hall and the Stan Mikita?
I think they're really both great looking cards. The more I watch with you and Josh and dig into more of the 50s older cards, the simplicity to the cards is what I like the most. They're so simple that I almost think some of today's cards are getting too busy, and this is what I like to see.
It was a much simpler time back there in the late 50s, early 60s for sure. That's one of the things I really like about having a collection that spans from 1910 till today is that if you take one card out of your collection, if you have them per year and just put them beside each other, you have a really nice representation of the history of the sports card industry, the history of printing, design, technique, all these things. It's just a nice way to document history and evolution of society. It's society to a degree, even though it's not, it's printing, but it was a part of society. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Then we have this guy here, which I feel like I've seen before. I've never owned one. I'm not sure what's on the back. I'd be curious to see it, but we're not going to open it, unfortunately. 1961 Swedish Record Journal hand cut. Bobby Hull, X-Mint 6. It's a little card. This is littler than the tobacco cards. I like this image of Bobby Hull. He looks young. He looks intense. And just a neat looking card. Lewi, have you ever seen one of these before?
No, I'm actually trying to look it up right now and see what's going on with this card. I've never heard of it before.
What about everybody in the chat? Have any of you seen these? Does anyone in the chat own one of these? Give us a hint. What do you guys think of this card here? Love to hear some thoughts on it. I just, it's not something that's really in my wheelhouse, and but $32, pop 2, 5 graded higher, kind of neat. An oddball for somebody to pick up tonight. All right. The first time I think I've ever wanted to look at a checklist, but this is not your typical checklist in that it's got some design to it. They broke out the Montreal Canadiens, the Maple Leafs, and the Rangers, and I'm assuming on the back you've got the Bruins, the Blackhawks, and the Red Wings.
I looked.
But what I like the most about this, Lewi, is this guy right here. This guy right here. I don't know if he's supposed to be an NHLer at the time or if he's just a designed graphic hockey player, but this to me separates this checklist from all other checklists, along with the motif up here with the word checklist, which is the same that you see at the top of all the 1965 hockey cards. PSA 4 unchecked. It is unchecked. It's a 4, but it looks really nice for a 4. Well, I don't collect checklists. I don't collect vintage sets, but if I did, this is an amazing piece to help you complete your 1965 Topps checklist. And right beside it, look at the Esposito rookie. The Topps Phil Esposito. This is a PSA 8.5. Really nice grade for this card. And notice the motif where it says checklist with all these pucks behind it to where it says Blackhawks and all the pucks there. So you can see that it does match. I think that's really cool. But let's move on to Phil Esposito now and take a look at this 8.5, because that is a really high grade for this card. And it just looks perfect to me. I'm trying to find something wrong with it. Top corners are perfect. Top edge looks really good. Can't tell if there's something going on right there or not. Centering side to side, like what's it off by 1% maybe? Edges are great. Bottom corners look perfect. There's a scratch here. I don't know if that's on the slab or on the card. If that's on the card, then you have, but right here you see it as well. I think that's on the slab though. I think it is. Like, I don't know. Obviously, we aren't looking at these here on our screen in 3-dimensional and able to move it around and bounce the light off it. Maybe it's the top to bottom centering, actually. I feel like as I look at it, the border here between the top of the pucks and the edge of the card, is that a little narrower than down here? I think it is, but still, I mean, that's still within PSA 10 requirements for centering on a card. So I don't think it's that. I don't know. I think it's a really nice card. Random Esports agrees, says the 8.5 is nice. Yeah. Shannock says, if that checklist was checked, would it automatically grade down to a 1? I don't think so, Shannock. I think it would get the MK for Mark qualifier, I think. And the card would be graded, whatever it is, but then it would get a qualifier because it would have like pen or pencil marks on it. That's my understanding, but I might not be correct on that. Lewi, your thoughts on the checklist in the Phil Esposito, please.
I love that checklist. I love the insert of the player, and what is, is that hand-drawn art in there, or, is it clip art? I don't know. It fits it perfectly. It's clean. I've never would have ever thought I would have said I love a checklist, but that's pretty cool.
And you get a few. You get Terry Sawchuk's name here, Eddie Jackman right here, Dave Keon right there, Red Kelly. You've got John Ferguson, Jean Beliveau, Toe Blake, Gump Worsley. You've got some key Hall of Fame names on there. Now, it's just names. I get it. It's not pictures, but still pretty darn cool. I think so. And what did you think about the Esposito? I mean, could you see anything wrong? Could you see anything wrong with it?
Got to be something on the back.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. If anything. We had a comment here about the Bobby Hull. Let's bring that up. Peeps here says, I love the Swedish Record Journal cards as they featured some of the world's greatest, i.e. Pelé and Muhammad Ali. So, yeah, Bobby Hull was one of the world's greatest back then at the time. So thanks for scoping that out for us, Peeps, that there were other sports involved.
There's a 101. There's a PSA 10 of that Bobby Hull on eBay right now. PSA 10 for a mere $25,000.
There you go. There you go. We have skipping ahead now to 1966. We have a Bobby Orr PSA 5. That's a pretty good grade for an Orr rookie. Let's take a look at this one. And you may recall a couple of weeks ago, I had a PSA 2.5 and a PSA 4 that were both very strong for the grade. And right away, I mean, this is a 5, and I think I think the 4 that I had was nicer than this. Now it's sold, so it's a wonder. There's a great new owner of it, but I don't think we had this much corner damage. This is off-centered left to right. It's got corner, you can see little corner touches on all 4 corners. Not sure if what's going on in the corner up there, if that might be the slab has some scratches on it. You got the corner there. Bit of issue there. And then the bottom here, the bottom edge, just some slight chipping. It's a 5. I don't think it's an ugly 5 by any. I call this an average 5, I think. Lewi, it's a decent looking card overall, but that centering, as you can tell, it is shifted to the left. So your left border is much narrower than the right border. I think we're looking at 65-35 here, if my eyes are doing me any favors here. Also just want to go back into the bottom border here just to highlight, this area here, when you zoom out, you can kind of see that it does, my eye is drawn down to here, but it's graded a 5 by PSA. It's a recent grade, so take that for what you take it for. I'm not sure what to make of that, but decent card right there. Bobby Orr, PSA 5. What are your thoughts on that, Lewi? Is the Bobby Orr rookie a card that's high on your list like it is many people?
Everybody's list, my list, and everybody else. Yeah, that'd be a great have right there. Good price right now too. I don't think it's going to stay there though.
$52.50. Well, we will see. We are now in all access extended bidding. So any single card that does not get a bid in the next 27 and a half minutes, the auction on those cards will end. So let's just see what's going on. What I'm looking at is the color of the text here. This is all orangey red. So none of these cards are yet going to make it to the next bid window. So if no more bids come in, they will sell for what you see. Same thing with these 3 and these 3 and these 3. Now the Broadbent has a bid, so that's going to get into the next bid window. These 2 aren't, and the Crispets have bids. The Morens, the Joliot, and the Vezina needs a bid. I have to think it'll get one. It's George freaking Vezina. So we will see. But the Morens is up to 18 and a quarter now. Let's go back down to here. Now we have a Gordie Howe 66 tops, PSA 6, above average eye appeal. Really key card for the Gordie Howe set collectors on the registry. We've got a Bobby Clark 1970 O-Pee-Chee PSA 5 rookie card. If you're in the market for a Bobby Clark rookie, that might be your chance. It's a 5. It's going to go for cheaper than a much better card, obviously. Centering, it's off center, it's low, and it's to the left on the cardboard canvas. So have a look and see if it's something that would strike your fancy. And then a PSA 3 Larry Robinson O-Pee-Chee rookie, and another Hall of Fame rookie card of a key Montreal Canadian defenseman from their dynasty of the 70s. And not a bad looking card. It's got even corner wear for a 3, but the image is good. And what's the price on this right now? $42. So an opportunity to get in on a relatively affordable Larry Robinson rookie card, if that's something that you're after. Anything here? What's your favorite of these 3, Lewi?
Gotta take the Gordie Howe. I still like that one the most.
Yeah, let's pop that open a bit actually and just take a look at it and see. So it is a 6. It's above average eye appeal. And what's this line coming down the side here? That's interesting. I think that must be, I don't know what that is actually. Do you see that? There's like this black line coming down the side of the card. I'm sure people who are more familiar with this set than I am know what that is. And it's, it is similar to the Bobby Orr rookie, where often on the far right edge, you'll see like where the wood grain doesn't match up. And this must have been a line. Maybe this is on the edge of the sheet. I'm not sure. That would bother me personally, but if it's on all of them, then you have to take it. So I don't know that I've noticed it before. So I'll leave that to everybody to look into for themselves. All right, continuing on, we have 3 Gretzky rookies tonight that we're going to look at. We have a PSA 6 O-Pee-Chee, we have a BVG 5.5 O-Pee-Chee, and a PSA 4 tops. And if you look, let's open them all up. And then I want to kind of look at them side by side. Well, we'll have to flip through them, but to see, at first glance, which one do we like the looks of the best? So the 6 is The centering is low and to the right, but gosh, everything else is great about this card. Corners, edges, registration's pretty good. The oil drop situated a little high. The BVG 5.5 is way off center to the left. And then the tops 4, to me, presents the nicest. Just, at first glance, Lewi, like it looks the cleanest to me. Again, PSA 6, BVG 5.5, and PSA 4. I like the 4 the best. It's tops, not O-Pee-Chee, so you got to take it into account. But let's take a closer look at the O-Pee-Chee 6. Top edge is great. Top corners are great. Right and left edges are really nice. Like, this has a perfectly uniform rough cut across all 4 edges, in my opinion. Bottom as well. Bottom corners are really nice. Not perfect. You got a bit of a rounding effect right there on the bottom left, but it doesn't bother me that much. This bottom right corner might be the worst. Look at the oil drop. It's poking out of its pocket here. Just poking out a little bit. The magenta plate is higher than the yellow. You can see that. And that's going to put the word Oilers on a higher plane than Edmonton. But look how dark and black the word Edmonton is there, Lewi. Like, we rarely see it that stark black. That's a really nice print right there. I'm not seeing any breaks between the thin black lines and the blue borders, which, I love that. I mean, outside of the centering, this is a really nice copy. Really nice copy outside of the centering. So if you can get around the centering here, this might be an 8. This might have been like if there was a qualifier given on it. So I don't know. I don't mind it. If you're not a centering snob like so many of us are, that's a nice card. The BVG 5.5, I don't like it as much. It's got counterclockwise tilt going on too. So, this border up here is wider than the border down here, and this border up here is narrower than the border down here. It's got the cut is nice and rough. The top corner, that's got some wear. Nice. Definite soft corner right over here, bottom left. You've got this white gap between the blue and the black here that I often point out, whether it's there or not, because I'm not a fan of that. You have it right down here as well, under the bottom of the Oilers logo area. The oil drop is to the left and poking out a little bit. So, yeah, this one, I don't like this copy nearly as much as I like the PSA 6, which, again, this is just a cleaner copy overall. And then you got the tops 4, which, it's got a really soft corner or some sort of a line through the corner right over here. That's going to hurt it quite a bit. A fisheye right there. Not too bad, though. Corners have some touches of white showing on all of them. Tons of fisheyes in the bottom quadrant here. But I still, if I'm just having to pick the card I like the most out of these 3, I'm taking the PSA 4. And then I'm taking the PSA 6, O-Pee-Chee, and then finally the BVG 5.5. Lewi, I just went through a lot of stuff there. Can you give us your thoughts? What did you agree with? Anything you disagreed with? What were you thinking?
Oh, you're spot on what I was thinking there. I couldn't do the 5.5 simply because it's tilted. I can't do a tilt at all. I don't mind off centering, but if it's tilted, it drives me nuts eye appeal wise.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I would have to agree with your assessment there. I still like that tops 4.
Yeah. So does Peeps. Peeps says, yeah, the 4 all day. Yeah, I mean, again, and I think the reason why this 6 isn't our first choice is just because of the centering, but I don't hate the card. Like, it's still pretty nice outside of centering. It's pretty nice, but we all know how important centering is in our hobby. So there you go. 3 choices of Gretzky's tonight. If anybody is in the market, let's go down to some 1980 81s. We have a second-year Gretzky PSA 9 with exceptional eye appeal. And we have a BVG 10 pristine Mark Messier rookie. Now, I got to open up this one here. I want to open up the PSA 9 second-year Gretzky because the centering on this card is like, it's very, very good. The card is itself on a tilt in the holder here, so that might throw you off. but from what I am seeing, the centering on this card, I can't tell if there's some slight clockwise tilt, maybe some slight clockwise tilt. But where I'm looking predominantly is these two angles here at the top between the corner of the card and the corner of the green frame and here. And these look to be, it's not perfect, but it's very close. This is better centered than the PSA 10 that sold on the Premier auction on Thursday. I think color is great. Edges and corners are all great. Yeah, I mean, this is a very nice card. I don't know what keeps it from being a 10 because the centering is certainly there. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. And then the BVG 10 Pristine Mark Messier. Again, whenever you have a BVG Pristine card, even a gem mint, you wanna consider the fact or the possibility that it was not pack pulled. That might be the case here. I don't know for sure. The top of the card actually does look to have a bit of a imperfect cut, meaning, you know, I do see a little bit of like roughness to it that you would see in O-Pee-Chee cards. Now, I don't know if that's natural or not. I just don't know. But a beautiful Messier rookie overall, and it's in a BVG 10 holder. It's sitting at $6,500 right now. It will be going into the next bidding window, as will the second-year Gretzky. And then finally, a third-year Gretzky O-Pee-Chee PSA 8. This card doesn't get nearly the amount of attention that the first 2 years of Gretzky cards do. It's an 8, and just take it for what it is. Nothing special about this particular card. Nothing bad about it, but I just mean that like it's not jumping out at me as being undergraded or anything. And PWCC did not give an eye appeal assessment. Peeps says that centering is so tough on that 80 set because it's so easy to see it for me, Peeps, and those angles that I pointed out. Lewi, what are your thoughts on high grade BVG, like early 80s O-Pee-Chee cards?
I'm still trying to figure out what's so different with that Gretzky that throws it out of a 10.
Yeah, he's talking about this right here. Why is this not a 10? You know, it could just be your somewhat, I don't want to, the inherent inconsistency of human grading and opinions that can change. And, I'm not saying that to take a shot. It's just that that's just the situation, just the way it is. It's natural, right? These are opinions.
They're both beautiful cards. I mean, if you're looking for two of the best samples of that Messier rookie and that Gretzky second year, woo.
Yeah, they're both beautiful. Both beautiful. I think they're both worthy of the grade. I do agree with PWCC. This is an exceptional copy compared to some that I've seen, especially from a centering perspective. So yeah, I mean, it's a very, very nice copy. David G joins us. Happy holidays to you, David. Says, I have one of those Bobby Hull Swedish cards. Also have the Maurice Richard from the same set. That's cool, David. Thanks for sharing. All right. Next up, Mr. Rogers again. We have to look at Mr. Rogers, you guys. This is a PSA 8 Pro Set Platinum fans of the game card. He was apparently a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. But on a more serious note, nothing against Mr. Fred Rogers. We have a Pierre Turgeon O-Pee-Chee rookie card in a PSA Gem Mint 10. Pretty cool card. I mean, back in the day when I was cracking this stuff, I used to buy these by the hand, packs of these by the handfuls. Just kind of got my driver's license, driving around from 7-Eleven to 7-Eleven, buying packs and cracking just like boxes of these things, spending my paper route money, that kind of thing. Lewi, I opened up so many of these. And back then, it was Brett Hull, Pierre Turgeon, and Joe Nieuwendyk were the big rookies from this set. Brendan Shanahan became like the second best rookie from the set, but that wasn't until a few years later, when he really blossomed. At the beginning, it was Turgeon, Nieuwendyk, and Brett Hull, as I recall. So this is a great card. I'm not sure what the population is on this. I want to check that though. We also have a 1989 O-Pee-Chee, Joe Sakic, BGS 9.5, $145 right now. And again, the Fred Rogers. Lewi, I want to tap back into your recollection memory of that era, 88, 89, 90. How well do you remember Pierre Turgeon and Joe Sakic while I go look up the Pierre Turgeon population?
I remember digging for Joe Sakic constantly when I was ripping through packs. I didn't have Turgeon on my radar really back then because at that time I was 11. But for some reason, Sakic stuck to me, and it was always digging for the Sakic cards and, some of the other rookies, obviously, during that time. But I wish I'd have gotten more into those Turgeon cards for sure. I'm still, you got me chuckling still over the Fred Rogers over there.
Yeah. Well, the Turgeon is a population 78 in PSA 10. So that's not a ton to go around. And he is a key card for, I won't say key, but he's not a key card. He's not a key rookie card from the 80s. He's no Steve Yzerman or Patrick Waugh or Lemieux or Messier, but he's kind of in that next rung, I'd say, with like the Luc Robitailles and the Al McInneses and the Cam Neelys, that kind of echelon I'd put him in. So I really like the card from 1988. Again, population 78 on this, $390 right now. There's plenty Joe Sakics. This was like a humongous year for printing. No shortage of these out there. But this does have 2 10s in the subgrades for centering and corners. Surface is a 9 and edges are a 9.5. And then again, you can grab yourself a PSA 8, Mr. Rogers, likely his rookie card. 90s hockey collector. Yeah, good evening to you. Welcome to the show. Jerry Hodge says Craig Janney was another. He was a hot card. Craig Janney from the Boston Bruins back in the day. Jerry, I remember that. Craig Janney was a card from there. There were others from that 1980. Yeah, of course, you had Brian Leach and Theron Fleury. Those were pretty big as well. Benoit Hogue. Remember, Benoit Hogue was there as well. Shannick says, I always viewed Turgeon as super talented, but lacking in the heart department. Interesting. Was it Pierre Turgeon that took a hack to the head from like Kevin Hatcher or something like that? I might be misremembering that, but wasn't Turgeon, didn't he like literally get like lumberjack wood chop to the head with a stick? I don't know if I might be misremembering that. If anyone remembers what I'm talking about, please brief us on that. All right, let's continue on. This next, so here's a card we didn't, I didn't do any research into it, but Lewi did. Couldn't find much. Maybe someone out there knows what this thing is. 1999 Upper Deck Power Deck, Powerful Moments, Auxiliary, Wayne Gretzky, 1 of 1, graded as a mint 9 by PSA. Let's take a look at this thing. Power Deck, 1 of 1, hand numbered right there. It says 1979 to 88, bringing 4 Stanley Cups to Edmonton. I did not know this card existed until this auction. Jerry Hodge says, I think it was Dale Hunter who chopped Turgeon in the head. Okay, at least I got one half of the parties involved correct. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, that does ring a bell. It might have been Dale Hunter instead of a Hatcher. At least I got the H right in the last name. But I don't know what this card is. I've never seen it before. I don't know if it's important. I don't know if it says PM3 is the number. So I'm guessing, Lewi, that there's probably, however many cards in this insert set, and they all maybe had a 1 of 1 parallel like this. So there might be several Gretzky 1 of 1 of these powerful moment auxiliaries. Either way, going to kind of leave it to everybody to do their own research, but it is a Gretzky 1 of 1 from the 90s. And it's at $525. Anything, Lewi, before we move on that you want to add to this, or you think it's cool? What are your thoughts?
No, I like that card. I think it's pretty sweet. I wish I could have found out more about it, though.
Yeah. We have a Sign of the Times, Sidney Crosby, his second year from SP Authentic. Sign of the Times is an autograph insert set that's been coming out, going back, I don't know, I think even before 2006, maybe back into the 90s in SPA or SP products. And this is the second year Crosby. Nice on-card autograph. The card grade's a 9. The autograph grade's a 10. That autograph is still very sharp, nice and blue. Card looks great. Nice full body, almost full body shot. We're just missing his ankles and his skates. But it's Sign of the Times. Sign of the Times is a high brand equity product. And then finally in this row is a 2015 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Superstars Rainbow Alex Ovechkin on-card autograph. Let's take a look at this one. This is a die-cut card. You can see how it is die-cut. It's got a neat pattern to it. Autograph. It's an interesting autograph. It's hard to see if it's faded or why it's a little bit darker in part. So take that for what it is. Got some fray coming off. And I would see if this was mine, I would just pull that little fray coming off right off the card. People, I don't know, maybe that would go against some hobby norms. I don't know, but I would be okay with doing that myself. $190 on this card right here. Lewi, what do you make of the Ovechkin and the Crosby autos?
There's no better auto than a Crosby auto.
Beautiful, right?
I think he's the best. He takes his time.
Beautiful.
Which makes it worth the money.
What's that?
Which makes it worth the money.
Yeah, his autograph is beautiful. Shannick says, for years, Crosby was the biggest seller at the Expo. Has that changed now, Jeremy, with McDavid? Yeah, I mean, Crosby is still popular, but McDavid, Matthews, these guys, we are in a hobby, Shannick, of, kind of who's hot this week, who's the hot rookie, who are the hot young guys. And McDavid, although he's not a rookie anymore, is still, I would think, the hottest player in the hobby, in hockey at least. Bedard will likely overtake that once he has more cards in the market. But I mean, McDavid's very popular at the shows right now, more so than Sidney. And Ovechkin has been hotter than Crosby for the past several years. But this year, with what's going on the ice, I think we're going to see a reversal. I think we're going to see more attention coming back on Crosby as people realize that he is an all-time great. Not that Ovechkin isn't, but the Crosby is, in fact, a GOAT. He is in the line of, Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby. Like that flows nicely, in my opinion. Phil says, top 3 autos for sure. Agrees with Louis on the Crosby auto. All right, 8 minutes left, guys. No, 7 minutes left in this level. If these cards, all 3 of these cards need a bid in 7 minutes, or they will end at the bid that you see above right here. $17 for Mr. Fred Rogers, PSA 8. We have a Connor McDavid autograph right here. This is a Trilogy Triptychs at $650. We've got a Matthew Tkachuk 2016 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Red Prism Rookie on-card auto at $90, numbered out of 50. And a Brock Besser 2017 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Emerald Surge autographed on-card rookie out of 10. Brock Besser out of 10. I think he's second in the league in goals right now behind Austin Matthews, Louis. Brock Besser is having a resurgent season right now. I won't call it a breakout season. He's had good years before, but he is having a huge resurgence this year. Whereas on the opposite end of things, Matthew Tkachuk is not scoring this year like he did last year. Last year he was back in the playoffs. He was the hottest guy in the hobby in hockey for a couple of weeks there, right? For 3 or 4 weeks. Not the case anymore. These prices would have been reversed a year, not even a year ago. In May of 2023, you could put 340 under the Tkachuk and 90 under the Besser, and we all would have thought that was normal. And now look what happens. It doesn't take long. Hey, Louis, your thoughts on anything I just said, please?
You can get 1 out of 50 Matthew Tkachuk cards without that mouth guard hanging out of his mouth. Here's your chance.
There's your chance. He doesn't have a mouth guard. That's a good point. Mouth guard is always hanging out of his mouth. Yeah,
Brock Besser's on a tear too.
Yeah, he is on a tear. I just want to take a look at the autographs as they sit. So the Tkachuk, it's pretty good, not perfect. The autographs don't lay down as nicely on upper deck refract or chrome products like they do on tops. O-Pee-Chee Platinum, it doesn't, like, this isn't holding the ink. Tops holds the ink so perfectly well. Same with the Besser. I think upper deck needs to buy a tops card, like the tops chrome, I think they're called, and study what they put on that surface to make the ink lay down better. Because you look at any like Bowman Chrome and the prospect baseball cards, those autographs, they look beautiful. That ink just affixes to the card so well, better than what I'm seeing here with these particular OPG Platinums. Phil says Brady Tkachuk's auto is better than Matthew Tkachuk's. Just saying. All right. We have a Jack Hughes PSA 10 Young Gun sitting at $220. One of the best young players in the NHL. We got a Kirill Kaprizov SP Authentic Future Watch Auto PSA 9 at $420, and a Kirill Kaprizov SP Authentic Future Watch Auto Patch at $800, BGS 8.5 with the auto at 10. Now, Lewi, you are in Minnesota. What's the current temperature on Kaprizov, and the thoughts around there for, is he going to be as good as he was the last few years? Has he slowed down? What are the Minnesota Wild faithful? How are they feeling about this player right now?
So up until the last week, I would say we were pretty down on him. He's just won 2 or 3 of the last games in overtime. All as I can see is he's going up. He keeps going up, but now he's got more competition because Boldy's heating up, and that little Marco Rossi's really starting to tear it up lately too. So he's just not that main feature on the ice anymore.
Yeah, it's a good thing though. A little bit once that pressure comes off him, now he can sort of just get into his own zone again and not have that pressure from all the fans and the team and management and coaches to be like the only guy that can score. So that's good to hear. All right, and the last card that we chose to look at might strike you as being a weird one, but this is a 2022 President's Choice in the crease nameplate of Bob Essenza. And who's Bob Essenza? Some of you may be asking. And why are you looking at this card? Well, Bob Essenza played for the Winnipeg Jets back when I lived in Winnipeg, and I saw him play probably over 100 games I was present at when he played. I believe he was there when Teemu Selanne was there, and Tkachuk, and Ty Domi, and back in the early days of Teemu Selanne, Bob Essenza was our goalie back then. So I have a bit of an affinity for Bob Essenza. Not enough to buy this card, mind you. I'm not a huge fan of the President's Choice line of product, but for $22, you can get yourself a Bob Essenza game-worn letter off a jersey. I'm actually gonna break the rule and dig into this. I want to see where this jersey is actually from. So let's take a quick look here. Hopefully we don't go on pause too much here. I just want to read, because the one thing the President's Choice will do is tell you what jersey the card came from. So here we have, it says, this is from his time with the Edmonton Oilers. So this would certainly not interest me when he played for the Oilers. It would interest me more if it came off a Jets jersey. But Bob Essenza, everybody. Bob Essenza. You may or the hardcore hockey guys have heard of him, but many the rest of you haven't. Okay, guys, we have 1 minute. Hey, first, Lewi, do you remember Bob Essenza?
Nope.
Okay, there you go. All right, we have 1 minute for bids to get in on anything in orange or they end. Bob Essenza needs a bid. Kirill Kaprizov SP Authentic Future Watch Auto Patch needs a bid. The other ones are all going to the next window. Brock Besser needs a bid, or it's going to end at $340 plus buyer's premium. Same with the Crosby Sign of the Times autos at $310. These all need bids. Mr. Rogers, Joe Sakic, Pierre Turgeon. Third-year Gretzky needs a bid. All 3 Gretzky rookies need a bid in 30 seconds to get into the next window. Gordie Howe, 66 tops, needs a bid. Bobby Orr rookie needs a bid. And the 65 checklist needs a bid, as does the Glenn Hall PSA 8 rookie, as does the 57 Parkhurst Jacques Plante, and the 36 Opeachy King Clancy needs a bid in 13 seconds. Newsy Lalonde Chris Bett and the Oral Joliot Canadian Gum needs a bid, as does the George Vezina. Let's hover here. The whole thing is going to turn over in about 2 seconds, and a bunch of these will be over. And let's see what's going to happen here, everybody. Okay, we have our first round of sold cards. I'm going to do a quick refresh, and that should move all the ones that have sold down to the bottom of our page, I think and hope, and we'll take a look. We will take a look. Let it continue to process for us. Phil says that Bob Essenza's star rookie in Upper Deck is awesome, Big 90s goalie pads for sure. And Random Esports gives us an update on the football game. Patriots 23, Denver Broncos 7. Thank you, Random Esports. All right, so we're going to scroll down to the cards that have sold. And here we go. We've lost about half of the cards that we were looking at. The George Vezina Chris Bet sells for $900. Not bad for a 1.5 card. The New Zealand Lalonde sells for $312. PSA 2 exceptional eye appeal. The Oral Joliot Canadian Gum V252 from 1933 sells for $384. The Jacques Plante 57 Parky gets $156, and the Glenn Hall PSA 8 57 Topps rookie does $2,070. The 65 Checklist does $150. That's a fun card.
Mm-hmm.
The Bobby Orr does not get any further bids. The PSA 5 sells for $6,300. Seems right to me. Not my favorite 5 I've seen. The Gordie Howe does $264, and the O-Pee-Chee did all three Gretzkys have sold. So the O-Pee-Chee PSA 6, which is badly off-center, does $2,190. The BVG 5 does $1,140, and the PSA 4 Topps does $660. The 30-year Gretzky does $174. The Pierre Turgeon PSA 10 rookie does $468. The Sakic BGS 9.5 O-Pee-Chee rookie does $174. And you could have picked yourself up at Mr. Fred Rogers 91 Pro Set Platinum. Let's call it a Fred Rogers rookie card tonight for just over $20. The Crosby Sign of the Times from his second year does $372. The Besser Platinum does $408. The Kaprizov SP Authentic Future Watch Auto does $960. And I have to say right here, Louis, I think this is like better than his Cup RPA because the Cup is a sticker auto, and
Correct.
This is not. To me, this is the car. I wish I said that before. Might have put the bulb into some people's minds to realize this is, to me, maybe his best RPA. I know it doesn't get that RC designation because it's not part of the base set, which I don't care about anymore. But to me, this is kind of a better card than his Cup RPA.
Yeah. I dropped the ball on that one too because I am not. That's one thing I'm not after. I do not like sticker autos.
Yeah. So you don't want the Cup RPA then, is what you're saying?
No.
You'd want this card.
Yep. Or
maybe he had an Ice Premieres out of 10 or the Ultimate Auto Patch. Usually those are out of 25, I think. So there are options, but this is a SP Authentic, some great brand equity in that set. 86 Collectibles says, wow, a Crosby Auto under $400. Christmas Eve shopping, you guys. Christmas Eve shopping. All right, back to the top. We are a minute 45 away from the next window. So anything in orange needs a bid. These three cards all need bids. The Kachuk needs a bid, the Hughes and the Kaprizov SP Authentic Future Watch. So does the Ovechkin Platinum. So does the McDavid Triptychs Auto. The Gretzky 101 has got a bid. This one could be subject to a bid war tonight. Possibly. I don't know. I'm just, it's that kind of weird, unique 90s Gretzky 101 card. Messier BVG 10 or BGS 10 is up to $72.50. Needs a bid. The Bobby Clark PSA 5 needs a bid. The Bobby Hull Swedish Record Journal is at $46. Needs a bid in the next minute 5. As does the Maurice Richard 57 Parkhurst, or that will end for $200 plus buyer's premium, which will put it at a grand total of $240. And then the Joliot Worldwide Gum Ice Kings that has a bid. That's going in. These two need bids. Sorry. The King Clancy 36 O-Pee-Chee and the 57 Parkhurst Bellevue. These are going to end if they don't get a bid in the next 40 seconds, as will the Oral Joliet V130 1924 Maple Crispet. But Howie Morenz is still ticking. He's up to 1925 now. Probably my favorite card of the auction. You'll notice that it was this and the Vezina that I chose to represent this episode. If you look at the bottom corner of your screen right now, you'll see both Vezina and Morenz sitting there in the very bottom corner of our screen. So here we go. 10 seconds left, everybody. Let's go to the Gretzky and see if it's going to flip over or not. Here it is. And it did get a bid. It had a bid. Sorry. It had a bid. It had a bid already. And now we have more cards that have sold. So let's see what just happened here. The McDavid Triptych sold for $780, and the O-Pee-Chee Platinum Ovechkin sold for $228. These are still going. The Bobby Clark sold for $144. The Bobby Hull Record Journal, $55. The Maurice Richard 57 Parkers gets $240. The King Clancy Opeachy from 36 gets $420, and the Belleville 57 Parkers gets $150. The Oral Joliet Crispet gets $1,140, and the Punch Broadbent is still going, as is the Howie Morenz, still $19.25. So we'll do a refresh, push those sold cards down to the bottom, and let's see how many we have left here in the items we are observing tonight. We are down to 3 items, and look at that. The Ice Kings Joliet has a bid. Morenz and Broadbent need bids still. All 3 here need a bid. Mahovlich, Makita, and Esposito. These need bids. Larry Robinson, Messier, and Gretzky. We have bids already in on the Gretzky here again, and the Kachuk. Kaprizov needs a bid, and that's it. So we are down to 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 cards left that we are watching here, Lewi. Anything stick out to you as interesting? Have you been bidding? Have you won anything tonight?
I have nothing. I have nothing.
Did you lay any bids down?
No. I have. No, I'm trying to learn the ropes here. I'm too busy clicking between screens and doing all sorts of side stuff here. I know how you guys felt the other night when you were bidding on cards. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's so try being me, Lewi, like the last 2 of the last 4 episodes where I was bidding on literally 15 to 25 items and doing a show and talking about items and talking to Josh and looking at the viewer comments. And that was quite the exercise I put myself through. So let's see here. Morenz is now up to 2,100. Fantastic card. I don't doubt it. Such a cool piece. Great player. 2,100 on the Morenz. The Joliet Ice Kings is up to 220. We still need a bid on the Broadbent to get into the next window. No one has yet bid. We have 2 minutes, 20 seconds for a bid to come in on Mahovlich, Makita, or Esposito for them to get into the next window. The Esposito PSA 8.5 is now up to $3,300. So nice to see such a high-grade Esposito. 8s we see, semi-regularly, but 8, 5s, 9s, you just don't see them very often. The 8 Makita is up to 19.25. Larry Robinson's going to go into the next window, but second-year Gretzky's up to 1,700. Needs a bid to keep on going, and the Messier is now up to 77.50. Lewi, I mean, last we looked, I think the Gretzky, or last I noticed, the Gretzky was like 1350, and I think the Messier was like 6,500. So these have both received bids in the last 5-10 minutes, but they'll need another bid in the next 90 seconds to go into the next 5-minute bid window. Gretzky's up. Gretzky 101 here is up to 7.25, and the Matthew Kachuk's up to $100. And Kaprizov Future Watch Auto is at $440. We have 1:20 to get a bid in on that one. And I'll just scroll through our sold items of the night so far. So far, I'm going to kind of pick my favorite on this row. It's going to be the Vezina, even though it's got that terrible diamond cut. Not terrible, but it's hard to be so critical of a card from 1924. But I mean, just look at that diamond cut you see here. It's just not a perfect rectangle. But I still love it. It's still so cool. That's my favorite card. It's still my favorite. I'm going to switch to the checklist. Now the checklist is my favorite. It's fun to pick a checklist. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick the checklist as my favorite card that is over so far. I think we just hit the new window. We're 30 seconds away. 30 seconds away. So let's let this tick down, and let's see. We had how many cards still? 12 right now. 3, 6, 9, 12 alive right now. We're about to lose maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 12. We are about to maybe lose 5 of them in 10 seconds. We have 6 seconds left for the clock to turn over to put us into the next 5-minute bid window. Let's let it turn over here in a second and see where we get. Mahovlich just got a bid at the final moment. And here we go. We have some new cards that have sold. The Broadbent Maple Crispet PSA 2 sold for $252. That's one down. The Esposito 8.5 does $3,960. And the Mark Messier BVG 10 sells for $9,300. So we lost. Oh, and the Kirill Kaprizov Future Watch Auto does 528. So we lost 4 of 12. That means we have 8 cards left still alive among the ones that we are looking at here, Lewi. So let's hit the refresh. 3, 6, 7, 8 are still going. Let's see if we have any early bids in the window here on these 8 cards, and we do. Mahovlich has a bid, and Howie Morenz, you guys, has jumped from $2,100 to $2,600 in the last minute or so. Where will this one end? This card is very intriguing to me. This is, gosh, I just love it. I just love this card, man. I just love it. Anything on your mind at this point of the show, Lewi? We got a bit of we're in a bit of time here where we got some time to kill because we got 3.5 minutes or so left in this window, and not a lot of cards left to look at. Chat, why don't you throw some questions or comments at us or anything you want to talk about to help keep us going as we watch the rest of these cards wind down. Lewi, anything on your mind?
Oh, I was looking back at like the comment 86 collectibles made on that Sidney Crosby. That's under $400 for a Crosby signature. Is a pretty good deal. That's a nice card.
Yeah, he's talking about this card right over here. 372 on this second year Sign of the Times Crosby autograph on card. PSA 9 on the card, 10 on the auto. Very nice autograph. Again, we've talked about how nice his auto is. Really nice card overall. Yeah, looks good. All right, let's see what's going on up here now. So we've had a bid on Tkachuk. He was at $100 last I noticed. He's up to 135 now. The Gretzky needs a bid in the next 2.5 minutes. Bid just came in on Larry Robinson. The Gretzky second year is at 17.25. Needs a bid to get into that next bid window, that next extended bidding window. The Mikita's at 1950. Still needs a bid. We have 2.5 minutes. As does the Joliot Ice Kings, needs a bid, and Morenz is now up to 2,900. Last I said, I think it was 26. I think that's the case. We're now up to $2,900 on the Morenz, and regardless of what happens here, we're probably going to wrap up the episode at the end of this bid window and not see some of these unless we get some more engagement from you guys in the chat. We'll wrap this up at the end of this window and let these cards end on their own, and I'll be watching them on my phone. Especially this Morenz is the one that I'm the most interested in seeing what it does. If anyone has any questions, comments, throw them at us, please. If not, that's fine too. We have about 1.5 minutes left on this window. And what we know so far is that Morenz is going to keep going. Mahovlich is going to keep going. That's 2. The Larry Robinson and the Wayne Gretzky second year are also going to keep going. That's 4. And the Tkachuk, 5 are going to keep going for sure out of 8 that are still alive. And now the Gretzky as well. The Gretzky 101 gets a bid. That I'd say right now I'm most interested in this Gretzky 101. It's also an Oiler piece. That's pretty cool. I'm really interested to see what happens with this card here. It's a 775. And of course, the Morenz up here. 2,900, 1 minute still to go in this window. William Collins throws a question at us and says, do you believe the virgin cardboard quote pertaining to unrecycled cardboard? I just heard that somewhere, William Collins. Where did I hear that? And I don't have any reason not to believe it. So if we're talking about the same thing, I just heard something and I don't remember where. Can you remind me, William, where did I just hear that comment from? Because it didn't seem to be something that I raised an eyebrow at. 90s hockey collector. From what I read on Beckett, there's 4 Gretzky 101s in that Power Deck set. Oh, so that's only 1 of 4. 1 of 4. That's pretty cool on the Power Deck. 17 seconds left. Morenz is at 2,900. The Gretzky is at 775. And it looks like only the Mikita and the Joliot might not make it into the next window here. It's going to flip over in just a second. Let's let that happen. And that's it. The Joliet does 264 and the Mikita does 2340. So we lost 2. We're down to 6 cards left. William says, I work with cardboard where I work at. So what are you saying about this comment here? Where was the quote from? I remember seeing it, William. Where was the quote from? And what are you What do you have to say about it? It sounds like you probably know more than we do. Love to hear your thoughts, please, if you don't mind. Jerry Hodges loves the Ice Kings cards. It was the first pre-World War II set you completed. Oh, that's really cool, Jerry. Really cool. And 90s hockey, 2-1, 2 Kings, 1 Edmonton, and 1 New York. Oh, of what is that of what's left? Not sure what that. Maybe that's of what's left.
I think that's that Gretzky.
Oh, thank you. The Gretzky. The Gretzky 1-1. 2 Kings, 1 Oiler only. Oh, you just made this card that much more interesting, 90s, by telling us that there are 4 1-of-1s in this set. I don't know if there's any other Gretzky 1-of-1s from the 90s. I just don't know if there are. That's interesting. That is interesting. We got to open this up for a second. I want to see the back of this card. Let's see the time on the clock here. We still have 3.5 minutes, so we might go past. So is there anything on the back of this card that indicates that it's a 1-of-1? So you see him on the front of the card, Oilers on the front. Both of these are Edmonton pictures. Here's an Edmonton picture. This is a Rangers picture here. But nothing on the back here that indicates any other 1-of-1. The only 1-of-1 indicator is the hand number, the hand stamp here, for what I can from what I can see. Interesting. I don't know. I feel like this card, if the right eyeballs were on this card, I could see this thing doing some damage tonight. Renz is up to 3,000 now. It keeps on going. All right, what does William say? From me, I believe, mentioned it on another channel. What did you ask? Do you believe the virgin cardboard quote? I still don't know what it means, though, William. I don't know what virgin cardboard pertaining to unrecycled cardboard means. Like, beyond my pay grade there to know what that all means technically. So if you want to explain, what are you talking about? I'm really curious what this means. Like, is this something that I would want to know? As of right now, I just don't know what you're trying to say. I'm sorry. I wish I did. Shannock says, do you think if players moved around to multiple teams in their career, that card prices are negatively impacted by it? It's a really good question. I don't know if it hurts Gretzky. But I think, Shannock, it does in the long run hurt it. I think it does hurt, especially like the later cards. Like, I don't think you're going to see an issue with Crosby's rookie cards if he ever moves away from Pittsburgh, which I don't think he will. Same with Ovechkin. I don't think you're going to see those card values hurt. But, it doesn't take long for like Matthew Tkachuk, for example. He was loved in Calgary, highly collected by Flames fans, and then he left. And they all sold his cards off. They didn't want them anymore. The people that want his cards are people who just speculate on a great player for the most part, or people that like his style. So I think the answer is yes. I think, Shannock, that card prices are negatively impacted the more a player moves around. 90s Hockey Collectors Power Deck was an obscure set, a little bit gimmicky in my opinion. Yep. And Shannock says, I do see non-Penguin Yager cards still selling pretty well. There are going to be exceptions, of course. Yager is, second, third all-time leading scorer in the NHL. Yager has a cult-like following, so there are going to be exceptions to that rule, for sure. There just are going to be. Under a minute left, so we're going to finish out this level anyway. Moran's up to $3,000. Mahovlich, Larry Robinson need bids. Gretzky second year needs a bid. Tkachuk needs a bid. The Gretzky Power Deck is going to keep on going. We're down to 6 cards right here. Let's see what happens. Here in the next 20 seconds. We're about to lose 4 of the cards and down to the final 2, unless any of these 4 get a bid in the next 10 seconds. And Mahovlich does get a bid up to $550. So we're down to 3 cards that we might lose. Here it is, final moment. And the window is going to turn over. The Matthew Tkachuk does sell for $162. The second-year Gretzky with exceptional eye appeal does sell for $2,100. And the Larry Robinson PSA 3 rookie card sells for $65. That leaves us 1 row, 3 cards left. 2 that I'm not surprised at all, Lewi, that we're still watching. The Howie Morenz and the Wayne Gretzky. And look at that. Mahovlich already has a bid to put it into the next window. 4.5 minutes left in this one. Gretzky at 8.25. Morenz at $3,000. And Mahovlich is at $600, Lewi. Let's give it another minute or so. If we don't get any bids on those two cards, if we don't get any more comments in the chat, we'll wrap this up and wish everybody, regardless of what happens here tonight, do want to take the moment to, wish everybody a Merry Christmas. That if you celebrate Christmas, even if you do not, a happy holidays. Christmas is still a lovely day to just enjoy the holiday vibe. If you got snow on the ground, the Christmas lights in your neighborhoods, we're going to go take the kids out for a walk tomorrow and just look at the Christmas decorations and have a nice family day. And look at all three cards now have bids. Morenz up to 3,200. The Power Deck Gretzky up to 875. The Mahovlich up to 600. And the Professor, who's not with us in the chat tonight, but is with us almost every show that we do here on the Sports Cards Live YouTube channel, did ask me to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Who's with us? Y'all might recognize the Sports Card Professor from the chat. He did message me and say, hey, please wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Shannock says here that clearly the Oilers version of that 1-on-1 would be the one to target of the four of them. Yes, I agree. Clearly, that would be the case. And William says, does it make sense to use this term? I like it. Kind of a description lost to the ages. I just don't know what you're talking about, William. You're talking very. I don't know if I'm finding it seems cryptic to me what you're saying. I just don't know what you're talking about. I wish I did. I feel stupid because I don't know what you're talking about. Did I miss a comment from you where you explained what this stuff means? No, I didn't. I don't think I missed a comment from you. But if you want to, William has been into the eggnog. Maybe not. I mean, it's funny. Sometimes you just know what you know so well that you maybe have trouble dumbing it down for the layman. And I'm a layman when it comes to, virgin cardboard and where is the original comment here? An unrecycled cardboard. I just don't know how that translates into sports cards. And, maybe that's the layer that I need to learn so that I can become more informed on our hobby, on the vintage cards from our hobby, and really understand it. Like, Lewi, does that kind of level of detail and technicality, does that interest you when you engross yourself in the hobby?
No, I'm trying to read back through. I'm wondering, I know there's been a lot of talk about cards made still with regular fresh cardboard or recycled cardboard. And I've been searching online for stuff, just trying to make sense of what he was saying there.
Well, if you find anything, let me know. Okay, David G says that Morenz card got me back into collecting when I was able to get a PSA 4 at a very good price. And this is a 3. Well, David, what a great card. I mean, this one's going to sell for, close to $4,000 already tonight. That's awesome. 90s Hockey Collector tells us that the Power Deck base are quite different. Even the version of that insert that is not a 1-on-1 looks quite different. That's important to know, that this Gretzky 1-of-1 here, there are no other copies of that card in the set that are not 1-of-1s that are the exact same card. That's important to know. That this card might be a serious sleeper. Like, again, I know nothing about it until what we've talked about tonight. And it just might be a complete sleeper of a card that I don't know if PWCC kind of promoted this card or put it on their socials or what, but I think if the right eyeballs were on this card, it could be, I have no clue. I could be wrong. Maybe those eyeballs are on this card and they're already paying more than they want to for it. I just don't know.
The only thing I can find on that is there is the exact same Gretzky card, except for that Upper Deck logo and all the writing on the front. On the other one is in silver, and this one's in gold.
Well, that's a key. That's enough of a difference for me that that this is not that there is a key difference between the parallels. I think that's really important, and I still kind of buy into like what 90s collector is saying here is still consistent with what with what you just said, in my opinion. But thanks for the tidbit. I mean, that's good to know that there are a silver version that is different. That's more information. Thank you, Lewi, for looking that up. Shannock says Upper Deck could recycle all the leftover pro set and pump out sets for years. If they have all the recycled pro set, for sure. Shannock, and Gretzky is still going, gets a bid now up to 1,050 with 4 minutes left in this window. The Mahovlich at 600 and the Maple Crisp bet, Howie Morenz at $3,200, 1,075 on the Gretzky. I feel like it goes blue, but the bid doesn't change. So, well, we'll see what happens here. This could go on for a while, or it could be over in about 5 minutes. Lewi, Morenz gets a bid now up to 3,400. So it went up $200 right there in front of our eyes. Love the card. David, I mean, David Gariani, you got a copy of this card in a PSA 4. How, if you are watching, listening right now, how does your 4 compare to this 3? Because I got to tell you, this 3 is gorgeous. Would you say this 3 is nicer than your 4, or is your 4 nicer than this 3? I'm really curious how you feel about it. And it would also, give us an idea just like how these cards look back in the, how they look today in these, low, I don't want to call these low grades. These are probably high grades for this card. I think we saw that there's like 42 cards in the total population, and more than half of them are graded below a 3, which means that David has one of the highest graded copies in a 4. That's pretty amazing, David. I think there were 12 higher than the 3 here. And so you have a 4, probably not many higher than that 4. If you're still there, let us know. Let us know what you think. 2.5 minutes. We're going to wait out this window, guys. We'll wait out the window, see what happens. Because after this, we're into the 1 minute windows, and then it goes pretty quick. So let's see. We still have almost 40 of you guys hanging out with us tonight on Christmas Eve. Couple more just joined. Welcome to the stream here, everybody, on Christmas Eve. I hope everybody, had a nice day. Have a nice day planned for tomorrow. It's just nice to enjoy the holiday season, and wish everybody the best here. Mahovlich gets a bid up to 6.25. Okay, David answered, and he says, mine is a little bit cleaner without the staining in the top left. The tint is different as mine is on darker cardboard. More insight right there, Lewi. Different stocks. It just depends on what sheet they had, and they didn't really care. They just wanted to print these things out back in the day, put them in with their popcorn and their caramels. And what was the other? There was another product I saw that these were packaged with. Here we go. Marshmallows, Tootsie Kisses, and popcorn. Popcorn, Tootsie Kisses, and marshmallows are what these things were that we know they were packaged out with. That's pretty cool. The consistency of the cardboard, Lewi, did not matter back then. David goes on to say, besides that, all else was equal. Yeah, good to hear. Thank you for that, David. Really interesting. God, you guys are contributing to the knowledge base here tonight. All right, 45 seconds to go. The Gretzky is still at 1075 and the Morenz at 3,400. We haven't seen bids on those in a couple minutes now. And the Mahovlich PSA 3 rookie card is at $650. 30 seconds left, and we're gonna find out what happens. While we do that, I'm gonna just go to my my score app here and see what. Oh, there's no hockey games tonight. What am I? We have 3 days off of hockey here. Patriots are now up 23-15 against the Broncos with 4.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And it looks like Broncos have the ball at the New England 40. So they need 2 scores still, though, or a score and a conversion, 2-point conversion. And here we go. We're into the 1 minute windows now, guys, on these cards. So let's see if anyone's going to put in a bid early to scare away their competition on any of these 3 cards. They're still alive of the 40 or 41 that we were watching. The World Junior Hockey Tournament, Jerry Hotch reminds us, Has that even started yet? I'm embarrassed to ask, but I am asking, has it even started yet, or doesn't it start right away here, Jerry? The World Junior Hockey Championships happen every year at this time. The Gretzky Power Deck, Louis, just got a bid. We're up to 1,100 now. 20 seconds. Guys, these windows go by fast. Trust me. I know when I was bidding on 10 or 15 cards all at a time. Kendolf reminds us that the World Junior Championship usually fires up on Boxing Day, 2 days from now. Thanks. That rings a bell to me, Kendolf. Thank you for that. All right. And the Morenz has sold, everybody. Yep. The Morenz has sold for $4,080. I love it. I love everything about it. Congratulations to the winner. You just got yourself an absolute beauty, a piece of history right there. We have 40 seconds left to see the Gretzky get another bid. Meanwhile, Mahovlich is at 775 and is going to make it into the next window. Let's see what happens on this Gretzky, Louis. What do you think? We're going to get another bid on the Gretzky? Take a guess, Louis.
Yeah, you have to.
I would guess we will. And there it is. 22 seconds now left on the Gretzky. So we'll see. We'll go one more minute, Louis, and then we're going to sign off on this show.
Sure.
If it gets a bid. If it doesn't get a bid, then great. Then it ends anyway. But we're gonna sign off, guys, in about a minute and 6 seconds on this episode on a lovely Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve tonight, and let's see, it's going to update now, and it's at 11:50. So a bid came in just before the clock turned. Maybe the person is thinking, I'm going to put in another bid, and now the other guy is going to have to make his bid to push it out another minute. Mahovlich gets a bid. I kind of like, these people are like, they're almost trying to wait each other out. Like, just, you could bid it all, get your high. Oh, and there it goes. The Gretzky gets a bid up to 1175. So we'll see what happens. All right, Louis, we're gonna wrap this up, everybody. Another bid on the Gretzky up to 1200. You guys can watch this on your own on the PWCC website to see what happens. But we're gonna wrap up. Louis, thanks for joining and adding your thoughts and insights. It was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was fun. I had a good time.
Right on. You betcha. Thanks for doing some research into the Chris bets as well. Let's see what happens here, though. I say we're going to
wait. We're not going anywhere.
This happens. Let's just I got to give it 30 seconds and see what happens if this Gretzky's going to get another bid. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for that. Cheers to you, Jerry Hotch. You have a great one as well. And again, Merry Christmas, everybody. And, Happy New Year. I will be doing a show on the 30th, on December 30th. I believe I got to confirm again with Brian Gray, but I believe he will be joining me. That's the plan. Former Leaf CEO. Several bids coming in on the Gretzky, guys, up to 1250. Richie Rocket, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining. Merry Christmas to you. All right, Louis. Thanks again. We're going to end this. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us on your Christmas Eve. We appreciate it. This is fun. We'll see you all again soon. Take care.